Hello everyone. Today's Monday and today is the start of our October Christmas craft along. I'm so glad you are all here today. For those of you that purchased the kit, be sure to get all your little bits and pieces out. You will have ample time to watch these videos. They're going to be here for 30 days because Facebook only allows us to keep videos on for 30 days, but then you will have access and you'll be able to find them on my YouTube channel at Loved by Him Designs. So for those of you that have not purchased your kit, you can craft along. You will have an opportunity throughout this week to purchase your own kit if you would like to participate. The videos that, like I said, will still be here. They'll be on YouTube. These are two of the projects that we are going to be doing today. So I'm going to be here every day for the next, from today through Saturday. Saturday schedule might be a little wonky because I do have a craft show, but you will definitely get a video on Saturday. Two projects that we're doing today. So this is the first one. This is a super cute card. And then we have the next card. This is a 3D project, and it has a little gift box. It is super cute. So we're going to be doing those today. But as far as you being able to get your own kit to craft, you can get the kit. I have a link for that. You can get the tutorial option only. You have that. And all that information is in the description. So let me just turn you down and we're going to get crafting for our October Christmas craft along. All right, so we are focusing in on these two stamp sets. So we have the Stay Warm stamp set with this adorable little sweater. And then we have the Pine Tree Trimmings, which is a stamp set and the dies. Now, if you purchase the kit, you do have the option to add these on. In doing so, that will take away the sales tax and the extra shipping to you because I'm selling them to you at what it costs online. All right, so we are going to start with the Stay Warm sweater stamp set. And this is a super cute card. So this is a card that my friend Beth had designed. Actually, both of the cards that we're doing today, Beth Maxwell had designed. So when I say Beth, we had teamed up, Beth and Deb. We had teamed up and we each created a bunch of projects for this craft along. So you're going to be seeing projects that I created that the other two ladies created. These are two projects that Beth had created. And check this out. So you just untie this. See if I can untie it. And then this is, it opens, isn't that awesome? And it's a little gift card holder. So you can stick a little gift card in here. You could write your little message. And then you close it up and you can tie it back up. Isn't that awesome? So we are going to make this one today. So let's get all our little bits and pieces. You have your printed tutorials. So the tutorials would have been emailed to you last week, Monday. So for those of you that are participating in the craft along with me right now, your tutorials were emailed to you. All right, so let's get cracking. So we are going to start with the base. So I had already pre-cut some of my stuff. In your kit, you get a pack of the two different designer series papers, and you have the directions on how to cut them all down. You also have 24 sheets of cardstock, full sheets of cardstock, which you will get to cut down. And again, you have all the directions in the tutorials. All right, so we are starting with our green, and then we have red, and then we have our designer series paper. So let's start layering that together. So we'll start with our designer series paper. We're starting with a little easier project first to kind of get our creative juices flowing. The other one you really got to kind of think and measure, but I'm going to show you a little trick I came up with to have that all work out. All right, so you're just going to attach this to the red. Then we will take this and attach it to the green. Super easy so far. And all the measurements are in your tutorial. So please be sure to check that out. And now on your tutorial, you have the measurements, you have all the card stock, everything that you're going to be needing listed up on top. Then you have your directions. Then there's some really nice pictures showing what it looks like. And then we have, oh, here, you know what, this here is actually the first page. So you have the image of what you're making. You have your supply list, all the supplies that you need to make this card. Your next page shows all the different measurements. And then that's just some more directions. All right, so in case you're unable to keep up, you have everything there. All right, so we have created the bottom portion of this card, okay? So now let's go on to the inside. So now we have our Granny Apple Green, and the directions say you are going to score at 3 and at 6, okay? I've already scored mine, so you're just going to fold. And it's going to be accordion. Like an accordion, you're going to make a Z type thing. And let's put that together. All right, so we don't want to attach this to our card base yet. We want to put this portion together. So we are going to start at the front and work our way back. So your directions said to cut out a cherry cobbler and a, I believe it's Granny Apple Green. Is it Granny Apple Green? It is Old Olive, my bad. Okay, so cherry cobbler and Old Olive, and we are going to stamp our sweaters on here. We're going to do some heat embossing. Okay, so get your sweater stamp, and then get your heat embossing stuff. So we have our little tray. We have our Versamark. And we have our little static bag. And you're just going to take your little bag and rub it over the top. This just takes away some of the static on your paper. And with the cooler, drier weather, you're going to want to do that. Okay. So now we will take our stamp and juice it up on the Versamark. It's a little stickier. Trying to make sure you have some really good coverage. I'm going to stamp one. Some good pressure to make sure your image is all on there. All right. So with the Versamark, you end up getting a clear image. So you're going to put this in your tray, just like this, and then you're going to take your white embossing powder and just sprinkle it over the top. Get some good coverage. There we go. I'll close this up so we don't end up tipping it over, because that could happen. All right. Whoop, come on. Try and pick this up here. Oh, that went really well, didn't it? All right. So we have some good coverage here. I'm going to have to clean this up. Good golly. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold this with our little tongs, or little tweezers. Oh, gosh. That could have went better. Okay, so we have that. We're going to heat emboss. So I have my heat gun, and we're going to heat emboss this. It's going to get a little loud. So we're just going to turn that on. Boy, that really could have went better, huh? All right. Keep that. Oh, and now see, you can see how it's changing. So let's heat that just a little more. All right, that's good for that one. We're going to put this one on the side and let it dry. Now I have to take 2 seconds and try and clean up this big old hot mess. Boy, that just like totally went wrong, didn't it? Okay, let's kind of scoop up some of this stuff here. So I think what it was I did this different manicure on my nails, and I think that kind of like, because they're thicker, I don't know. I think that might have had something to do with how I picked up the paper. Kind of crazy. All right, let's just swoosh this over. And here I thought I was starting with the easier project first. All right, so let's take our cherry cobbler and let's attempt to not have this go epically wrong. We're just going to juice this one up. And let's stamp this on our paper. Oh, good gravy. Okay, well that didn't cover very well. I think because I have all that stupid powder on there now. First, I'm going to flip this over. Okay, let me clean this. All right, so let's try and figure this out. Okay, so I believe I have this cleaned off. Let's grab a little baby wipe. I have to get in the, actually baby wipe my pad, try and get some of that off. Gosh, that's crazy. Okay, so don't let the powder flip up onto your Versamark pad. All right, let's try it again. Let's make sure this is nice and covered. Okay, it's one more try. Hopefully that works. Let's hope, let's hope, let's hope. Flip it over, give it a good press. All right, so that is way better. All right, so let's pretend that the last 5 minutes just didn't happen. Let's cover this up with our powder. All right, I'm going to take a little brush and get that stuff off. And don't worry if it looks kind of funky. We are going to be trimming this out. Okay, so let me move this before it gets even worse. Get the heat gun, and let's get this heating up. So it is not the best image, only because, well, you saw the earlier mishap. So I will have to redo this piece a little later. Alright, you can see how it changes. So when you're doing this, you don't want to burn your powder. So keep moving your heat tool. Alright. So now let's let that one dry, and let's, God, I have this powder everywhere. Let's grab our scissors, and we're just going to trim these out real quick. Let me get my glasses on. No, so I got this stuff called Nail Boo, and it's like a powder that you do on your nails. So, but it's really thick. It's not thin like regular nail polish. So I think my fingers just aren't used to the thickness, I guess. I don't know. But so I couldn't grab that paper without it flipping over like that. Alright, well, I hope I was able to make you laugh. Everybody needs a good chuckle every once in a while. Okay, so we're just going to Go right up in there, trim this out. All right, there's that one. We'll do the neckline here. All right, now let's trim out this crazy looking one. Just crazy. All right. So, but it will be just fine. Trim off all that crazy looking stuff. Yeah, see the side's a little wonky, but that's all right. Okay, just this little bit. So I will be back here tomorrow at roughly the same time, 11 o'clock. And we will be doing 2 more projects. Hopefully that they won't go epically wrong like this one did. Okay. So now we have, gosh, everything's all full of that powder. All right, so we have our sweaters. I'm going to start from the top down. So we have our designer series paper, and we're going to take this and attach this right to the base. Okay. So you're going to grab your seal. You could use liquid glue. Liquid glue will take a little longer to dry, but that's, you know, you don't want to use a whole lot. So there we have our designer paper. And then we will not put the sweaters on just yet, okay? Because we're going to need to work with our ribbon with that. So let's go to the inside. We're going to work on our pocket. Okay, so we have the little pocket here. Let's grab our piece. So again, the dimensions are in the directions. So let's see here. I'm going to trim this one up just a little bit. Looks like I cut this one off just a tad. Where's my trimmer? Here it is. Just going to take a little bit off. There we go. So we want to line that up right here towards the bottom. Now, before you attach it, you'll want to grab your hole punch. I'm using 1.5 inches. You can use whatever size you would like. And you're just going to cut out or punch out a little notch. Okay, this way you can get in there to put your gift card in there. So, and you could use liquid glue on here, or you could use your seal tape, your tearing tape. I'm trying to find where I put mine. Here it is. So you want to do it just on the very edges of your little envelope, your little pocket. Just tear that off. Just like that, and then the other side. Now you could use your seal, but your Stampin' Seal is a little wider, it's a little fatter. So it will take up more space. You want to keep it as tight to the edge as possible so that you have room to put that gift card in there. If you have it too wide, your gift is not going to fit. Okay, so we have that, and let's take off these edges. There's that one. There, and the third one. There we go. Okay, let's put this at the bottom. There we go. now we can slide in our little gift. So if this was your gift card, it would just slide in here just like that. Okay? So now we have that. Now let's grab your piece of basic white, and we're going to put this on the inside flap. Gosh, everything is still all full of that powder. And if I am going too fast for you, you can pause this video and you can fast forward. You could see my craziness and just shut it off and be like, this gal don't know what she's doing. Those are your choices. All right, so let's put this all together. So you have your cherry cobbler. We're going to attach our Z fold here right on top of that. So you want to do the back side. There we go. And you're just going to center it. All right. Okay, so this is where we're at as of now. So now we want to attach this to our card base. Okay, but you want to take your ribbon or your thread and pull it. You want to pull a good length. Okay, so you're just going to lay this down just like this. Then you're going to put adhesive on the back edge. Okay, so we have that just like that. There we go. Okay, so this is where we are at. I'll turn it the right way so that you can see it. Okay, so this is how your card is. This is where your little pocket is going to be, or is. And then this is what we're going to use to tie it all up together. Now we have our fantastic little sweaters. I think if I just maneuver this sweater, maybe I won't have to redo it. So maybe we can just put that one around there. Now this is going to go underneath the sweaters. So you want to just flip that over. Let's get some dimensionals. And put them on here. Peel off the little backs. Oh, come on. Right, one more dimensional. There we go. All right, so we can put this little guy. Let's see, how should we do it? There's a way that we could cover that. So, yeah, we could do it that way. Cover up my big old mistake there. Okay, so we'll do that, and this just slides underneath. Make sure it's not going to stick because you want it to slide. All right, now let's grab this one and put some dimensionals on there. And this one's going to be a little more free-floating because we're going to be tucking in a label. So there we go. Oh, that kind of covers that craziness, doesn't it? There we go. And let's stamp our sentiment. So this, you have an envelope in your kit of all the different dies or labels you're going to need. Okay? So we are just using this stamp set for just a couple of the sentiments, okay? But we did use a lot of these dies. So these dies are awesome. So, but because it wasn't a part of the original 2 stamp sets, we die cut out all of these for you. So we want to use Sending Love and Joy. And now I can't do this one upside down because I'm on the struggle bus as I already am here. So, all right, so let's juice this up. And let's line this up. I did punch or die cut out a couple extras because, you know, I'm just so challenged today. I don't know what is happening. Well, I'm glad I have some extras cut out. So let's do this again. Yeah, total struggle bus this morning. Goodness. All right. So I think what I did was I pushed down too hard on my newly juiced up ink pad. So you have an envelope filled with all little extra, or with all your labels. Let's try this again. All right, light tap, 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 tap. All covered. I hope, you know what, I'm gonna wipe that because I think I got some of that embossing powder on here. Goodness gracious. There we go. You know what? Okay. That works. Tap, tap, tap. Put our sentiment on there, just like that. Fantastic. Way better than before. All right. Clean this up. So I just have a chamois, and that cleans up my stamps very nicely. Okay, so let's finish cleaning this up. Where on earth? So I have my lid. I don't know where the pad went. There we go. The head is going to have to get cleaned up big time. All right. So let's attach this to our card. So this is going to go in here, just like this. So it looks like the little sweater hands are holding it. A little adhesive on the back, just like that. Oh my goodness, total struggle today. All right, so let's slide that in there. Press that down. And now let's take our string here, our twine, and cut that. And let's tie our bow. So here is your card. Let me just show you this before I put it all together. Good night. Oh, you know what? It's stuck. So here we go. Let's use this one. Okay, so here is your card. Let me just talk you through this, seeing as my interpretation of putting that one together was kind of crazy with our little mishap with the Versamark and the embossing powder. So what we did was we took our old olive, we adhered down the cherry cobbler, then we adhered down the designer series paper. That is layer 1, okay? Then we have layer 2, where we took our old olive and we scored it at 3, then we scored it again at 6. Folded it accordion style. We then glued the back of this paper here, this long strip, to our cherry cobbler. We took a piece of basic white and put it on the inside portion of our folded card. We then cut out the designer series paper, cut a little notch in there so that we can slide our gift card in. Okay, Then what we did, now it's still not attached to our base. We tried really hard to do some embossing on our cherry cobbler and our old olive. So I stamped it with the Versamark, had the image down, we put it in the tray, we sprinkled the white, tapped it off, heated it with the heat gun, okay? Once it dried, set and dried, then we trimmed it out, okay? We put them down onto the card front. We then took our label in the cherry cobbler and we stamped our sentiment and attached it underneath the little hands, okay? Then what we did was we laid down our red twine, okay? Then we had a lawn strip. We then took this section of the card and attached it down to our card base. Okay, then before we attach these sweaters, remember we laid this string down and attached the sweaters over it so that it slides. Okay, so now we have that. Now we are just going to simply tie a bow and our card is finished. All right, so here's the one that we did together. So you can open this. I don't know why it's not wanting to slide out. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. But you open it and you have your little insert here, and then you tie this. Maybe. I'm telling you, total struggle bus today. Okay, well you tie a bow. It's just not wanting to work with me today. All right, so here is card number 1. Oh, okay. Let's just take a hot second here to clean this embossing powder off of my desk. And we will move on to card number 2. Now there's no embossing on this one. None. All right, so here's our card. So it has this cute little gift box. Isn't that adorable? And it opens and it stands. Isn't that cool? Let me just get my fingers out of the way. Oh, there we go. So, and you can take this little box off and you have a little gift box. So you can just untie this. We'll just slide that off. I think I double knotted it. Let's take that off and you have a little gift box. Isn't that cool? I think it is so cool. All right, so let's get all our little bits and pieces and our tutorial. And I'm going to show you a little trick on this. So you have your tutorial. It shows you the pictures on how to trim and cut everything. You will want to watch look at this, but you have the directions for the box and the lid. Then you have the directions for the card. All right, so we are going to start with the box. We're going to make the box first. Okay, so let's take everything for the box. So you have your designer series paper, 6x6. The directions tell you to score it at 2 inches and then on each side. Okay, so you're going to take your paper trimmer and use the score blade or the scoring knife. And you're going to go to the 2-inch mark. You're going to score it. Let me just put this down. You're going to score it on all 4 sides at the 2-inch. Okay, so it's here, 2-inch, you're going to score. I've already scored. 2-inch score. You're going to do all 4 sides. Put that on the side. Okay. Then you're going to take your smaller piece of paper. So if you look at your directions, Beth explains to you how you're going to cut your designer series paper. Okay, So it shows you a picture. This is how you cut it. She gives you all the dimensions on how to do it. I've already cut it out. Okay, so you're going to be cutting as shown in picture B. So here's picture B. So you just follow this and you'll get all your pieces that you need to make the card. Then with the square, you are going to score, because this is going to be your box top. So you are going to score each side at 3/4 inch. So just like we did 2 inches on the other piece, we're going to do 3/4 of an inch in here. So line it up at 3/4 of an inch. Here, score it, and you're going to do that on all 4 sides. So you can take a second to do that. You can always pause me. Now, you want to take your paper and then fold where your score marks are. Okay, all 4 sides. And then definitely look at your written directions. It explains where you're going to cut. So you're going to cut on 2 sides of your paper. All right, and we're going to do that here. So you're going to take your snips and you're going to cut. And you could use your paper trimmer for this. You're going to cut up to that 2-inch score line. So let's cut up to that. All right, flip it over. So you're going to have 3 little flappies. And we're going to cut here to the 2-inch. And you're going to cut again to the 2-inch. Okay, now a little trick is I take the 2 outer pieces and I'm just going to cut off a little bit of an angle. So it gives you a little bit of a space. That's going to help you in folding your box. It takes away some of the bulk towards the bottom of the box. I'm going to do that on all 4, or on 2 sides. Just like that. And do this side. Because these flaps are going to go on the inside of your box. So you're not going to see that there's a piece missing. Okay, so now let's fold up the box how it's going to go, and then you can glue everything down. So take your 2 solid sides, fold them up, fold in your sides like that, and then you're going to take that outside piece and just glue it that way. Okay, so you will want to put adhesive on the back side of one piece. Fold that up. Okay, take your other side and fold. So you're going to match these 2 sides. All right, so this is what you have. Now you're going to take adhesive on the back here and attach that. So there's one side. Now you're going to do the same thing to the other side of the box. You're just folding in your sides. Attaching them together. Just like that. And now we're going to put adhesive on that. And there we go. Now you have your little box bottom. Now we're going to make the little box top. It works exactly the same way. So you're going to trim 2 of the sides. So here's the front side. We're going to angle a portion of it and just pop that out. All right, and we'll angle this side. Now you're going to flip it and do the opposite corner, or the opposite side. There we go. So fold in our sides. I'm actually going to fold all your sides here. And we'll put the rest of it together. Okay, so you're going to fold in your two sides, just like we did, and take the bigger flap and fold it to the front, just like that. So let's put some adhesive on our little ends here. And we'll just put adhesive on the other side too real quick. All right, so we have our box. You're going to fold up the two sides of your paper that is not cut. Push in your little tabbies. Okay, and then fold up the big flap. Okay, now you want to do it loosely because you want to make sure that this is going to fit over your box. And I'll show you what I mean in just a little bit here. So let's attach this. So you're just doing a light tap because you may need to adjust it for your box. Okay, so now we want to make sure that our box top will fit our box. Okay, so you may need to do some finagling to get it to fit. So there we go. Okay, let's see if it fits a little better. Let's turn it this way. So I'm finding that my cover is a little too tight. So what I'm going to do, it looks like it's a little too tight on these two sides. So we are going to just peel this apart lightly, carefully. And we're just going to move it out a little bit. Okay, it's not going to be totally squared up. It's going to be a little bigger because the lids are always a little bigger on a box, are they not? Okay, so just move those pieces out just a little bit. There we go. Let's see how that works. All right, so that works much better. Okay, so now let's press them down. Press it down nice and tight. And you're going to take your scissors and you're going to trim these edges. So I don't know if you can see. Let me put a piece of paper here. So you can see how you have these extra little pieces of paper. We're going to trim them off because we don't want that on there. Just going to trim. Easy, easy. Now, some people can make these boxes and they are absolutely perfect. I cannot do that. Especially today. Today is definitely a struggle bus day. And we'll trim that side. There we go. So now we will put our top on our box. All right. So we have that. Awesome. Now, let's take our twine and we are going to tie it to our box. So, what you're going to do is flip your box upside down. Put it on top of your twine. You're going to cut off a bunch of twine or the thread. You're going to bring up your ends. You're going to twist it. It's just like putting ribbon on a Christmas package, on a gift. That's all. And then we're going to tie a bow. And tie a bow. So you could do a double knot, but then you won't be able to actually like untie it. So let's do it this way. Wrap it around. We have enough to work with here. Pull that through. And whoop. There we go. And we can always trim. Trim, trim, trim. All right. So there is our box. Super easy, super cute. Okay, so now let's work on the card that this box is going to sit on. Okay, so this is my sample. So the box slides into the card base like this. Isn't that cool? So there's two ways you can do this. So the directions tell you to grab your paper trimmer, and you are going to fold your card in half, okay? Then at the 1 inch mark, you're going to line that up, and you're going to take your cutting blade and you're going to cut at 1 inch, okay? So at the 1 inch mark. And then you're going to go down 2 inches, okay? Then you line this back up and you go to where your 3 inch mark is, okay? See, then you cut here at the 3 inch mark. You could do that. When I did it that way, I got a little confused. So what I did was, I know my box is 2 by 2, okay? So with that said, I cut out a piece of scrap paper that is 2 by 2. So what I did was, and you could do it however you would like, I found this to be a little easier. So I took my card, I measured at the 1 inch mark, okay? So I put a little notch here in pencil. So I don't know if you can see it. Well, and which is nice on this crumb cake because you can't really see it a whole lot. So I marked at the 1 inch. Then I went down and I marked at the 2 inch. I went over here, I marked at the 3 inch here. From here to here is 2 inches. So we know from here to here is 1 inch. From here to here is 2 inches. So this gives us our 3. So I put a notch at 3 and then back down at the 2. Okay? So I knew that my 2 by 2 paper is going to fit in here perfectly. So you can do it this way, or you could do it however you think is going to be easier for you. Me, I need to find a way to do things simply. So I cut out a 2 by 2 piece of scrap paper. I marked out where I needed to cut, and I just do a light little line, 2 by 2, just like that. Now I'm going to take you could take your paper snips and do it that way. I do not cut super straight with my paper snip. So you have your paper in half, go to the 1 inch, and you are going to cut to the 2. Okay, then go to the 3. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut all the way down to the 2. Like that. Now you're going to line up your paper this way and cut from here to here. I'm going to stand up to do this so I can see. Don't want to cut where I'm not supposed to. Put that right in the center. And I believe it will go right here. Yep. Yay! Okay, so this little bit that I cut out should match my 2 by 2 template. Okay. It should take my box, and my box should fit comfortably in that little notch. All right. Whew! So now that we got that done, let's get our other little bits. So this piece of Designer Series paper was cut from the same piece that we cut out our box and our box top here. Okay? Because this piece here was used for the box top. We're using this piece to go on our card base. Okay? We have a piece of the garden green. I believe this is garden green. We need this to stamp our tree. You're going to want to look through your designer series paper, the little punch outs. Look for the little cardinal, the little bird. You're going to look for 2 gifts. And then you're going to look for some green leaves with some little white berries. Okay. You also have a strip of the real red, and all the dimensions are in there for you to cut it to the perfect size. Go into your little envelope of tags that you have, and you're going to pull out this one. So this is from the traditional label dies. So it was using this one here. So that is all punched out for you. Okay, so these are the bits that are going on the front of our card. So let's stamp our trees. Let's move the stamp set. Here's the stamp set that we're using for this one. So this is the pine tree trimmings and the dies. So let's grab our little tree that we're going to use. And let's see here, which block do I want to use? Probably want to use the block with the sweater. So we use that. We'll take the sweater off because I totally need to scrub that stamp and get all that embossing powder off. Gosh, that makes me mental. I don't know how that happened. Oh wait, yes I do. My finger floofed it up and it shouldn't. All right. So you're going to grab your, let's see, which ink color do we use? We are going to be using our garden green ink pad. If you don't have garden green, you can always use the ink pads that you have. That is the beauty of this. If you don't have this exact same stamp set, no worries. You just use what you have. Or you can always choose to add it on. All right. Okay. So let's juice this up. There's no embossing with this one, so we should be good to go. I'm just going to stamp that down. Just like that. That didn't look too painful. We're going to leave our ink out because we are going to stamp our sentiment. So we are going to stamp "'Tis the Season." Let's see, it is in, where is my stamp set? Here it is. So we're going to pull out the "'Tis the Season." So if you're looking at this and you're not sure how to find it, just tip your paper back. And there we go. Okay, so we have that. Let's grab a block. "'Tis the Season." All right, so now we want to stamp. Let's see here. So that's going to go that way. Do it upside down so it's right side up to you. So here's "'Tis the Season," and it's going to go in the lower corner here. Just like that. If by chance you do mess it up, you can always grab a piece of, you could actually use your 2x2 template and stamp and then trim around it, or you could just cut a different piece of the designer paper. Could do that. All right, so now let's get rid of this ink pad here before I hurt myself. And now, if you don't have the dies for this, you can always fussy cut this out, but I do have the dies. So we're going to use the little tree. And use the stamp and emboss machine. So, because this is a little smaller, and I don't want this like wiggling around. I don't want it to move. I'm going to use a sticky note here. So I'm just going to line it up just like that. And we will put our plate. So we have plate 1, we have plate 2, we have our paper, and another plate 2 over the top. And we'll just put that through just like that. There we go. There we have our little tree. And let's move this out of the way. Okay, so now we have our little tree. Let's put the rest of this beautiful card together. So we are going to take our base, this designer series paper, and we will add that to our base. Just line that up here, right at the bottom, just like that. Now we'll grab our piece of red, and the dimensions are all in the tutorial. We will just put some adhesive on there, just like that, right at the base of that other designer paper. Now it doesn't have to go all the way to the end because you're going to be covering it. So let's take our label. And we'll put that right about here. There we go. Isn't that fun? Okay, I don't need that. Now you have your tree. You could add this with dimensionals, or you could just lay it flat. I'm just laying it flat because we have so much dimension with the box. Alright, we'll grab our little bird. There we go. Now we also have your little presents and your green foliage. So I have a hard time picking things up. Let's put that there, and let's put a little adhesive on the front of that because that's going to go right about there. And this will go. Let's tuck this under a little bit. There we go. Let's move that in there. There we go. And now let's add this other gift. And you could put these really anywhere you'd like. There is no right or wrong place to put them. All right, so now we have our fantastic card base. Okay, and this opens, you're going to have this big gap here, but then that is where your little gift box goes. And you could put all kinds of fun stuff in there. Oh, I'm not going to see what I'm doing here. I've got to turn it this way. There we go. So we have our little gift box. It will open just like this. So here's the front. Isn't that adorable? And it opens like a regular card, and it just kind of holds your little box on here. I think that is so cool. All right, so today's projects, we made this little gift box card. So this was the, what is it called in your directions? I believe it's the Christmas tree gift box card. So there's that. And then we have, where did my other card go? Okay, this is the Stay Warm Accordion Gift Card Holder. So these are the two projects that we made today. Again, all your directions, the tutorials were emailed to you last week, Monday, so be sure to check for that. If you would like to get in on this craft along, clearly this is a very comfortable, laid back class. Mistakes do happen. So if you'd like to participate, you have until this coming Monday, not today, Monday, next Monday, to order your kit. You can either order the whole kit and caboodle, or you can order the tutorial only, or you can actually even get the tutorial for free with a $50 order from my online store. And I do have all the directions and all the information on how to do that in the description of this video. So be sure to check that out. And I will see you all here tomorrow at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we'll have some more fun. Hopefully without any embossing powder mishaps this time. All right. Thank you so much. We will see you here tomorrow, and God bless. Bye-bye.